You typed a particular question in ChatGPT, and what came back was it written for the whole internet and nobody in particular. So you read it, closed the tab, and went to the desk to do all the work by yourself. That is not an AI problem or the model problem. That is because your prompt is starving of it everything that it needs to have and think. And I'm exactly going to show you what it is. I gave the exact same business brief to AI in two different ways. One version took me 30 seconds to write, and what it gave me was so generic, so surface level, the kind of output that could be achieved just by Googling or done by an intern. The client must have gone through it in 30 seconds. The second version took me 10 minutes to write, and the kind of output was so structured, so organized as what the client has expected, and asked me which top tier consulting firm did I hire to get it executed. It was the same brief, same model, same AI. The only difference was the architecture that I have constructed before asking the question. Here is the real problem. Most people walk to AI and talk to it like they talk to Google. Type in a question, get the answer, and move on. But AI is not a search engine. It is a thinking machine, and thinking machines do not respond to questions. It responds to clearly defined role, objectives, context, and constraint. And once you provide all this, your output transforms completely different. Here's what I mean by that. Imagine you have hired one of the smartest person in the world or you have ever met, and on its first day you hand them a post-it note saying that figure it out by yourself. How will he or she figure it out until it does not have any historical records of the company, the strategies that has already been tested out that did not work, the KPI metrics of the company, the strengths and weaknesses of your core members, the objectives or clearly defined role on where the company needs to progress towards. And that is exactly what your prompt looks like. And that is why your output looks so generic or looks like it is being done by a fresher or an intern. What I built over the past 2 months by investing all my knowledge, and I'm going to be showing in this video, consists of a complete framework for constructing prompt like an architecture designs a building, layer by layer with the intention, so that AI clearly knows who it's working for, what it needs to solve, a clear objective, a constraint that it needs to take note of, and how an elite output needs to look like. I have tried this framework in building my business strategies, marketing research, pitch decks, sales call, and even hard conversation. What used to take me days, now it could be achieved within hours. And the quality gap that I can produce now versus 6 months prior is not a subtle one. At the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you the exact step to get this architectural blueprint in a form of PDF for completely free. And before that, let's see what most people get wrong and what it's costing them. The first layer is what I call master prompt, and this is where most people skip entirely, which results to a generic output. Imagine you're visiting a doctor for the first time who has no context, no records, no history. Even though he or she may have gained degree from the top universities in the world and must have gained experience from reputed hospitals, he or she is starting from the scratch every single time. And whenever he or she asks you a question, you have to answer it from scratch at all times. And that is what AI does whenever you open a new chat without a master prompt. You're handling the world's most intelligent tool with a blank page to figure it out all by itself. The master prompt fixes it. It is a one-time setup that tells AI exactly who you are, your role, your industry, your goals, your communication style, how do you think, your written format. And once you feed it, every response that would be generated would be specifically calibrated to you, not a generic response that just answers your question. And this is how I built my master prompt. I asked AI to do it so. I asked AI to interview me until it gained 95% confidence to build me the top 1% master prompt. It asked me 21 deep niched questions. I answered it detailedly and honestly and took time to do it so. It gave me a PDF which I saved it in my folder and a .md file so that whenever I start a new chat, I just paste this PDF file. You just feed it once, works forever. Now you have a family doctor who has access to all your records, your blood works that has been done a 1 month prior, and the surgery that has been done for you 5 years before. So that now even if you go, it has all the records so that it can analyze and can recommend to you specifically for you. Now let's get into the second layer. A system prompt is not actually about who you are, but how you want your AI to behave. Imagine you're a logistics manager. You have all the KPI metrics on your dashboard, including cost per shipments, error rates, NPS, FTPR, etc. The more data you would be dealing with, the sharper your decisions tend to be. You could do all the predictive and forecast so that you could spot the problem before it actually arrives, and your decision just getting sharper every week. Now imagine doing all this task with half the data, same intelligence, same job, but with half the input. Now your decisions tend to decline rapidly. That is the difference between the basic prompt and a prompt with system instructions. A master prompt is actually telling AI who you are, and system prompt is actually telling how it needs to behave. Whether it needs to ask you contradicting questions, whether it needs to fill gaps with search-based answers, whether it needs to be a middle person which just tells you the truth as it is. So this is how my system prompt looks like. Interview me until you gain 98% confidence on what I want from you, not what you think I want. Be as blunt as possible, be a ruthless mentor, don't sugarcoat with things. You would be encountering gaps throughout the process. Do flag it and ask me questions before proceeding into the next step or generating the output. And whenever you will be dealing with data, do a fact-based check only using credible sources. Now this single paragraph changes the whole output performance. Now the AI not got smarter. I just told how good looks like. Master prompt, system prompt. Now you have your behavior logged in. Most people stops here and still wondering why do they get inconsistent performance throughout each task, every week, different projects. Context without organization can still feel chaos. In the next step, we are going to be talking about how to actually build a process, an engine that gives you consistent performance throughout. Most people use AI like they use the junk drawer with all set of context in one place, with no designated path and every new conversation starts from scratch. You wouldn't run a business with one giant pile of notes, with no separations, no categories, and no departments. You would have operations in one place, marketing in another, finance in a different stack, with its own objectives, own context, own KPI metrics to track upon. This is what makes a business with proper set of systems and process and organized rather than leading to chaotic situations. Project folders in AI works exactly the same way. Content creation for one project folder, marketing in another, client calls and leads follow-ups in somewhere else. So with its own set of system prompts, master prompts, context, constraint, objectives to track upon. Whenever imagine you're going to go into content creation mode, you don't need to start everything from all over again. It exactly knows what it needs to deliver, and you can start from the midway where you've dropped off. one of the simplest layer but carries the highest reward rate: custom instructions. Imagine you open a Google map and type a destination to home. You're not going to be typing your home address because you've already set up once and it stays forever. You've set up the same thing acts with your AI. Once you set up your custom instructions, your preference of how your output needs to look like, it stays there forever. It replicates towards every chat, every task, every project, so that the output it generates will be calibrated according to your own preference. And you could be wondering, what is the difference between a custom instructions and a system prompt? A system prompt is the behavior of AI towards that single project. Imagine I've set up a system prompt for a project named email assistant, as whenever it will be giving me the output, it needs to be a bullet formatted one. It needs to be concise. It needs to be short within the range of 150 to 200 words. Whereas if I'm building a content script for my long form YouTube channel, I don't want a bullet points. I want it to be a full sentence without use of M or hyphen dashes. And it needs to be an in-depth research article with worth of more than 2000 words. A custom instruction is the one that applies to each and every chat no matter what. So my custom instructions looks like this. Be concise. Don't sugarcoat with things. Ask me questions one at a time and wait for my response before proceeding into the next question. It should not look like an AI generated response. It needs to consist of plain English without use of M or hyphen dashes. So you have, and the difference between the top 1%'s output versus the rest 99% is how you clearly state what good looks like, what effective looks like. A good output would be much more different compared to me versus you. A good output for me would be consisting of bullet points, would be consisting of just like a notes which I could just refer. Whereas for you, it will be consisting of a plain English without use of M or hyphen dashes, using your own humorizer mode. So that is the standard that is being set to AI. It's not AI setting its standard that meant for you. You came to this video doing what most people do, using AI like a search engine. You type in a one-line question, you get a generic answer that applies for everybody but applies for no one, reads it, close it, and does all the work by yourself. And thinking that AI is the problem, the model that I'm using is the problem. It is not your AI model or the platforms or applications you have been using. It is the architecture. So to comprise everything, 4 layers. Master prompt is actually telling AI who you are. System prompt, how you want AI to behave. Project folders, to make it like to have a set of systems and process and build like every department with its own memory, own data, own context, own constraint, own objective. And last, custom instructions to build your own preference, own standard, so that it could follow each and every time you type in that particular application. Now you must be wondering how to get the architectural blueprint PDF for completely free. There are 2 things which I would recommend to you. One, I have attached my Substack profile. Click there, DM me with the architectural blueprint. I will be sending you the PDF, or else you could be visiting my Instagram handle and DMing me over there. So do subscribe my channel if you're interested on how solopreneurs and startup founders could leverage AI into an elite team of C-suite executives, so that you will be notified with all my upcoming videos that will be coming up. Thank you. See you next time.